12 and 13 foot distance feeders are the real powerhouses in the Aventus range. They're primarily designed for casting long distances very accurately. But don't be fooled. A lot of distance rods are very stiff and don't have much play in action. These are very different. We all wanted a rod that could cast, you could compress, you can push to the limit, but yet when you've got a fish on, you can enjoy the fight and be in full control. To produce a rod range at the very top end from scratch that will cover all match angler and coarse angler needs really isn't easy, but we were very lucky to have the Daiwa technicians, designers and engineers all at hand. They taught us about carbon, rings, cork, where the rings go on the rod, the different materials and layers you can use to create different actions. It was a mega interesting experience for myself and all the gurus involved. The Aventus 12 foot distance feeder comes in two pieces, so it folds perfectly in half, so you can put it in your ready rod bags. The 13 foot, however, had to come in three piece to maintain the action and power that we needed. Both rods have some lovely key features, starting off with the Fuji K guides. These are designed primarily for distance feeder fishing. The guide sits a little bit closer to the blank and it's a bigger bore as well, so you can get away with bigger pit reels when you're trying to get that extra distance. Also, it compensates for heavier lines and using shock leaders also. You'll notice the rods have slightly longer handles than most other match fishing rods. This is purely because we do a lot of work with carp anglers and they taught us that the important thing about a long handle, it gets your hands in the correct position to help you compress the rod and will also help with your accuracy. The rods come with 3 tips. The tips all come with the oversized rings, so they compensate well with the rest of the K guides that are running through the rod. This will allow you to use shock leaders and not worry when you're putting a lot of pressure into a cast. The lightest tip is the 1.5 ounce, and that's a pure carbon tip. That'd be perfect for skimmer fishing, F1 fishing, or a bit of winter carping. Then the very top tip is the 3 ounce carbon. It's a bit of a beast, perfect for big rivers and catching carp at real long distances. The Aventus rods all use 090 carbon technology. This uses high volume carbon fibre. So basically all that means is there's more carbon used in the blank than any resins or glass, so the carbon gets to do all the work. And being Daiwa carbon, it's the very best you can get. And what the technicians and designers do is they lay the carbon in different ways with different wraps to create the perfect action for each individual rod in the range. Therefore, for the 12 foot 2-piece Aventus feeder rod, it's built up heavily in the back section, so the carbon's a little bit stronger, a little bit denser. That gives you the power when you're casting. As you move up the rod, the carbon slightly changes, it gets a bit softer. So when you're playing smaller fish, skimmers, fish like that, you're not going to bump them off. But also when you've got bigger carp under your feet and you're battling with them, the rod's going to compress and allow you to get those bigger fish in. Moving on to the 13 foot distance feeder. Now this isn't too dissimilar to the 12 foot in action, but everything's been built up for that extreme distance. So the handle's even longer on this rod, the back of the rod is built up with extra carbon, and the rings are even bigger than on the 12 foot, making it the ultimate all-round distance tool. With these rods being very top end, we didn't only want them to perform well, we wanted them to look great too. So we've done a few cool little features on them to take them to that next level. So starting at the handle, we've got Daiwa's famous arm lock system, and that's made in A-grade cork. Moving down from that, we've got a bespoke Guru logoed EVA grip handle. And to finish off the handle, we have the very best Fuji reel seat. The rod itself has a slick carbon wrap on the butt section, moving up into a beautiful, shiny, silky finish throughout the rest of the rod.